Something has been following you for a long time. You have probably tried to name it before. Restlessness, maybe. Or longing. Or that specific dissatisfaction that arrives not when life is going badly, but precisely when it is going fine. When everything looks right from the outside and still something inside quietly insists that this isn't it. That there is something else. That you haven't found it yet, and so you move. Not always with a suitcase. Sometimes just internally. From one version of yourself to the next. One interest to the next. One relationship or city or reinvention to the next. Always with the feeling that the next thing will be the thing that finally settles it. It never quite does. If you know that feeling, not as a passing mood, but as a companion that has walked with you for years, then stay with this. There is a poem written over 1,000 years ago. Anonymous. Old English. It describes an exiled warrior drifting alone across cold seas after losing everything. His people, his lord, the hall where he once belonged. He doesn't rage. He doesn't collapse. He just wanders and asks questions into the empty air. Where have the horses gone? Where are the riders? Where is the giver of gold? Where are the joys of the hall? How the time passed away, slipped into nightfall as if it had never been. These are not questions about a lost medieval world. They are the questions the restless soul asks in every century, in every language, about every version of home it has lost or never managed to find. When did I stop feeling like myself? Where did the meaning go? What am I actually looking for? The poem is over 1,000 years old. The feeling it names is older than that, which means you did not invent this. You inherited something ancient, something that has moved through human beings across every era, every culture, every kind of life. The wandering is not a malfunction. It is a signal, and it has been trying to tell you something for a very long time. The restlessness takes different shapes in different people, and it is worth slowing down to recognize which shape it takes in you. For some, it lives in the body, a near constant pull toward elsewhere. The fantasy of packing a bag and starting completely over. New city, new country, new life. As though the problem is the location and not the feeling that boards every plane, unpacks into every new apartment, and quietly reasserts itself within weeks of arrival. For others, it lives entirely in the mind. An endless internal weather of memories, regrets, imagined futures, replaying conversations from years ago with the words that should have been said. Building elaborate scenarios of lives not yet lived, existing more fully in the not yet or the no longer than in the present, which always feels slightly thin, slightly insufficient, like a room with not quite enough light. And for others, it lives in ambition, the relentless forward momentum of achievement. Always a new goal just far enough ahead to keep moving toward. Always the quiet promise that reaching it will finally make things feel real. But there is a particular cruelty in this version. Because you reach it, you actually arrive, and the satisfaction lasts, generously, a few days. Then the horizon shifts. The hunger returns, as though nothing happened. One is tired of the country, one moves to the city. One is tired of the city, one moves abroad. One is tired of abroad, one dreams of endless travel between stars. The movement changes, the restlessness doesn't. Because the restlessness was never about the destination. Here is where the modern world makes this so much harder than it needs to be. We live inside a culture that has one answer to emptiness. More stimulation, more productivity, more connectivity, more content, more noise. The phone in your pocket delivers an endless stream of other people's highlight reels, their milestones, their arrivals, the carefully composed evidence that they have figured something out that you haven't. And the searching mind looks at all of it and asks, is that what I'm missing? Would that fill it? So you reach for the next thing, the next scroll, the next plan, the next version of yourself that might finally feel like home. And for a moment, sometimes just seconds, the hunger quiets. Then it comes back, louder than before, having learned that this particular thing doesn't satisfy it either. There is a concept in Tibetan Buddhism that describes this with startling precision: a realm of hungry ghosts, beings with enormous bellies and tiny mouths, permanently famished, unable to take in enough to feel full. Whatever they reach for turns to fire or ash before it nourishes them. The image is thousands of years old, but the condition it describes is everywhere right now. A hunger so structural, so deep, that no external thing was ever going to answer it. Not because the things are wrong, because they were never what the hunger was actually asking for. Dante placed a version of this at the very entrance of the Inferno. Souls who had committed to nothing in life, who had taken no side, who existed only for themselves. Their punishment was to chase a shifting banner endlessly through the dark, never catching it, never resting. Restlessness as its own eternal condition, movement without arrival, pursuit that consumes itself. The question is not how to stop the restlessness. The question is what it is actually asking for, because it is asking for something. Restlessness is not random noise. It is information. It is the psyche pointing, imprecisely, urgently, sometimes exhaustingly, toward something that is genuinely absent. It may be pointing toward work that feels meaningful in the specific sense of mattering. Not just producing, not just achieving, but contributing something real to something real. It may be pointing toward relationships deep enough to hold the actual weight of who you are, not the surface connections that modern life produces in abundance. The other kind, the ones where you are known rather than simply liked. It may be pointing toward a relationship with your own interior that you have never quite managed to establish. The thoughts you have never sat still long enough to hear, the feelings you have learned to outrun, the questions you have been circling for years without ever directly asking. The wandering doesn't end when you find the right city or the right person or the right title. It ends, or begins to end, when you finally turn toward what it is actually pointing at. Jung described calling out to his own soul after years of searching outward, returning from all the external territories, coming back, exhausted, to something he had been walking away from the entire time. My soul, where are you? I have shaken the dust of all the lands from my feet, and I have come back to you. That image, the wanderer finally turning inward, finally exhausted enough to stop running, is not a defeat. It is the first genuinely new direction in a very long time, because the soul you have been searching the whole world for does not live in the next destination. It lives in the place you have been the most reluctant to look, in the stillness you have been filling with noise, in the silence you have been treating as something to escape rather than something to enter. This is not comfortable to hear, and it is even less comfortable to do. Stillness is genuinely difficult for a mind that has organized itself around movement. Sitting in a quiet room with nothing to pursue, nothing to consume, nowhere to be. Studies have found that people will choose to administer mild electric shocks to themselves rather than sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes. That is not a small thing. It points to something most of us already know in our bodies, even if we have never said it out loud. Being present with what is actually happening inside us is harder than almost anything else we could be doing. Pascal understood this when he wrote that all of humanity's unhappiness comes from one single thing: not ignorance, not poverty, not misfortune, the inability to stay quietly in a room. Because the room is where the things we have been running from are waiting. The grief that got filed away because there was no time for it. The anger that seemed inappropriate to feel. The fear that if we slowed down long enough to look at our actual life, honestly, we might not like what we see. But here is what almost no one says about that moment of turning. What is waiting on the other side of it is not more darkness. It is the part of you that has been trying to speak for years, the part that already knows what you actually need, the part that has been sending the restlessness as a messenger, not to torment you, but to bring you back. Not every wanderer is lost in the way the word usually means. Some are lost in the specific way that precedes being found, moving through exactly the territory they need to move through, carrying questions that need to be carried, circling something they are not yet ready to see directly but getting closer to with every pass. Tolkien wrote that not all those who wander are lost. The line has become almost invisible from overuse, but it holds something true that the familiarity has buried. Wandering is not the enemy of arrival. For some people, it is the path to it, the long way round that turns out to have been the only way through. The question is not whether you are wandering. The question is whether the wandering is becoming something, whether underneath the movement there is the earliest, most fragile edge of a turning, whether the restlessness is starting to ask, not just drive, not toward the next thing outside you, toward the thing that has been waiting with extraordinary patience all along. The fire still exists, not in the places the world tells you to look for it. It is in the moment you say honestly what you actually feel to someone who can actually receive it. It is in the work that asks something real of you, not your performance, your actual self. It is in the silence you stop running from and begin, slowly, to inhabit. It is in the question you have been circling for years, finally asked. It is in the soul you have been searching the whole world for, sitting quietly in the one place you kept not looking. The wandering ends not with arrival somewhere new. It ends with return to yourself, to what is real, to the thing at the center that was always there, waiting for you to stop long enough to find it. Before you go, I want to ask you something I genuinely mean. What is the thing you have been searching for that no destination has ever given you? Not the version you would say out loud to someone who asked. The real one. Leave it in the comments. You might find that someone else has been wandering toward exactly the same thing.